If you're thinking about hiking the Appalachian Trail and you are looking for a training hike or a shakedown hike that you can do maybe in a long weekend, I've got the perfect hike for you. Let me introduce you to the Art Loeb Trail near Asheville, North Carolina. This trail is 30.1 miles and it's a point-to-point trail. It starts at Camp Daniel Boone, which is a Boy Scout camp near Canton, North Carolina, and it ends at the Davidson River Campground, or vice versa, depending on which direction you choose to go. By the way, I chose to hike the trail southbound starting at Camp Daniel Boone because it's supposed to be a little bit easier when you go southbound. The elevation gain is a little bit less. It's between 7,000 or 8,000, whereas going northbound, it's closer to 10,000. And my buddy Jukebox lives in the Asheville area, and he's done this trail before, and he has just said like, oh, southbound is the way to do it. So that's what I chose to do. But you could do it either way. This trail is named in memory of Art Loeb, who is an activist with the Carolina Mountain Club, and he allegedly just loved these mountains. I can absolutely see why. They're so beautiful. During this hike, you will get to experience pretty close to what it's like to hike the AT. This is a tough hike. I'm out here hiking it with several former AT thru-hikers who've gone on to do other long trails and such, and we all agree that this is a tough trail. And it's very reminiscent for me of the AT in the southeast. You get steep climbs up, steep climbs down, lots of rocks and roots on the trail. I actually twisted my ankle. Thankfully, it's still being agreeable enough to let me keep hiking, but it did hurt quite a bit. You get, depending on the time of year that you come, you get all of the greenery that makes the AT so special. And I'm out here hiking in the spring, and the southeast in the spring really has such a special place in my heart because of the AT. I'm seeing all of these gorgeous wildflowers out here. Everything is so green. We've gotten some rain. We saw fireflies last night at camp, and they were these blue ghost fireflies, which are a lot smaller than like the normal fireflies that you see. They're only found in this region. So we're in the Pisgah National Forest. They're teeny tiny, and they emit like a bluish white light, and they stay on a bit longer than like normal fireflies, which are more of a yellowish color and they're much bigger. Blue ghosts are named for Confederate soldiers because they are found, in this region down here in North Carolina. And anyway, you just get a taste of what it's like to hike the AT without actually being out on the AT. So I can't recommend this hike enough. If you are thinking like, oh, I want to go to do the AT and I really want to see what it's like, if you're going to be going northbound, this is going to be what it feels like to hike the AT. And let me tell you what, it is tough. It is a tough trail. So let me just show you a little bit of the trail and what it's like to hike out here. I can't say enough nice things about this trail. It is tough, but it is beautiful. These forests are magical. Let me show you around a little bit. So here's the Cold Mountain trailhead at Camp Daniel Boone. As you can see, plenty of parking. Every time I come back to these forests, I'm just amazed at how green they are. And immediately I'm seeing little plants that I know, like this Jack in the Pulpit. And of course, these gorgeous spring flowers like this Trillium. And this is a May apple. I saw tons of these on the AT. And bear corn, which bears and deer like to eat, and Native Americans used to use it for medicinal purposes. FYI, there's not a ton of water on this trail because a lot of it's higher elevation, so just make sure that you're planning your water sources in advance and bring some sort of map so that you know where those water sources are. Gosh, I love these Blue Ridge Mountains. They're so special. I'm always looking out for creatures too, even small ones like this cool beetle. And FYI, we saw 2 rattlesnakes on this trail, so just make sure you're watching where you step and where you sit. A lot of this trail is really rocky and rooty and narrow. But then you get views like this for your climbing and your work, and you're like, obviously worth it. FYI, the majority of my footage is from my day one because I was having phone issues. This part of the trail is in the Shining Rock Wilderness, and it's named the Shining Rock Wilderness because of these big and small pieces of white quartz everywhere. FYI, while you are in the Shining Rock Wilderness, you have to use a bear can while you're camping. I'm not a huge fan of having to carry a bear can, but it is what it is to keep you and the bears safe. Oh, hello, little bunny. You also get a taste of these balds that are semi-common in the southeastern US as you climb higher and higher up toward Tennant Mountain and Black Balsam Knob. On the AT, for example, you'll pass over balds like this as you go over the Rowan Highlands and Max Patch and some other spots. On this particular trail, you get up Tennant Mountain, which is over 6,000 feet, as well as up to the top of Black Balsam Knob, which is also over 6,000 feet. So for this area, this is quite high elevation. I'm always happy though to stay up high because I don't want to lose my Colorado altitude lungs for when I go back home. In true Southeast fashion, it started raining as soon as we got toward the top of Tennant Mountain and Black Balsam Knob, but that's the way it goes. We decided to make camp about half a mile south of Black Balsam Knob, which is a great pine grove. There are a ton of camping spots right here. There's no water on the Art Loeb Trail right in this area, but you can follow the Mountains to Sea Trail about half a mile downhill as you're coming down Black Balsam Knob, and there's plenty of water around several places on the trail you can get it. If you want to know why I really keep coming back to the Southeast, it's the wildflowers. There's no doubt it's the wildflowers. Look at these mountain laurel. Oh, I love them. Another way that this trail reminds me of the AT is that there are a couple of AT-style shelters on this trail that you can sleep in if you'd like, or just make camp at the shelters. I love shelters because they're such a great meeting place and like hangout space. That one was Butter Gap Shelter, by the way. Pro tip, if you end at Davidson River, you can go for a swim at the end of your hike. You better believe I went for a swim at the end of my hike. It felt so good and refreshing. Highly recommend. Another bonus of hiking this trail southbound is that the end is super flat and super easy. Also, this end of the trail is really close to Brevard, North Carolina, if you wanted to go in for a beer and a bite. Brevard is known for its famous white squirrels, so be on the lookout if you go into town. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of the Art Loeb Trail. Make sure you subscribe for more hiking and backpacking content if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon.